Back with you live tonight on In Focus, and thanks for staying on. Today, the Azanian People's Organization and the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania commemorated Human Rights Day in Sharpeville. Azapo says it rejects the renaming of Sharpeville Day to Human Rights Day, saying this amounts to the distortion of history. Azapo President Nelvis Qekema joins us now for more on this. Good to have you, and thank you very much for your time tonight on In Focus.
Good evening, Taba, and the viewers.
Firstly, I mean, the meaning of the day is hugely contested and debated. What is your analysis of these contestations, giving, of course, the insight into why 28 years on we are still not realizing what is called economic freedom?
Well, I think my view is that the black leaders in government are very timid, and in fact they are trying everything they can do in order to water down the Sharpeville longer day. They've tried to misname it, they've tried to dename it, because for all the time of struggle, this day has been known as a Sharpeville longer day. But what did they do in 1996 was to, without even consulting the PAC, which was indeed the leaders of the day, they just denamed it to Human Rights Day. The problem with that is that what they were trying to hide is who were the victims behind the day, who were killed behind the day, and who were they killed by during that day. So we say this is a distortion of history, and then this is the distorting of the truth, hiding of the truth, erasure of the truth, and erasure of the pain of black people, and this cannot happen.
Yeah. So you're saying the state is engaged in what sometimes is called organized forgetting of the memory and the legacy of the Langa Sharpeville massacre. What's the impact of this in light of the broader democratic revolution movement?
Well, the problem of the erasure of state violence and the experiences of structural violence is the fact that you're going to have a repeat of the Sharpeville massacre, and this time around it's going to happen during the era of democracy, and so it is that in 2016 you were able to get in this country under a black government the Marikana massacre. And that happened in a manner that has now been shown that it was pre-planned, and it happened against black people, by black people this time around. And then only on Monday, we nearly had another Sharpeville and another Marikana. You saw how a democratic government was so intolerant of people exercising their democracy, their freedom of expression, freedom of movement, to an extent that the whole country was militarized. For the first time, we were able to see that the capacity we thought we did not have when it comes to the need to exercise the safety of the people, was there all of a sudden. And these things should not happen again. That is why we should talk about Sharpeville all the time, time and time again.
Yeah, the Sharpeville massacre, as you rightly put it, is about highlighting state complicity in the political violence that we saw and the killing of innocent people and innocent lives. Talk to me about what went through your mind, for example, when you heard on Monday or even on Sunday that there will be military intervention, and in the context of whether or not the state has reformed from the past government that used to use its force and was complicit in what is called state-sponsored violence to the government of today.
It became clear to me that we did not dismantle the architecture of colonialism. Coloniality still prevails. colonialism still prevails in a new guise, and this time around it is neo-colonialism. This time around it is perpetrated by black people, by black leaders, and that is the difficulty, because that type of neo-colonialism, that type of enemy, is a type of enemy that is very difficult to fight, because your own black people are the one now who are sent to be able to mete out that violence against their own people. That's the difficulty. Even when you want to sing songs, you don't know who to sing songs about, because you still sing songs about Verwoerd and them, when in fact the people who are meting out the violence against you are your own people. So that is the difficulty. And so on Monday, I was reminded that in fact colonialism is still with us. Racism is still with us. This time around it is institutionalized, and this time around we have black people and black leaders defending it and ensuring that it is perpetuated.
How do you perceive the state's dealing with the memory and legacy of political violence, this particular one, but generally? I mean, what is your assessment? For example, critique their truth recovery processes. You know, we had something like the TRC. There are many others that we go through. These truth recovery processes, do they actually get to the truth? Do they help us where we're sitting today? Are we any clearer on who should be held responsible for the Sharpeville massacre and what actually happened?
Well, that is exactly the problem, because all this government is doing, is to sweep the atrocities that were perpetrated against black people under the carpet, and it's a very huge carpet. And then all they are trying to do is to stand between us and the enemy, and then force black people, because they are our brothers and sisters, they are our own people. They force us to accept these things, accept the pain. For instance, take the TRC. The TRC was there for nothing else other than that Viljoen and them, the commanders of the SADF then, were very unhappy that their atrocities and their wrongdoing was going to be followed during the time of democracy, and so they were threatening to rise. And then so it was that a mechanism was found to be able to protect them. That's how the TRC law came about. To this date, that law ensured that justice was bracketed, and justice was pushed out of the way. And all that happened, even when we were promised that there would be reparations paid in the direction of the victims, till to date, nothing happened. And in fact, Bishop Tutu died crying and complaining that he wasted his time. So,
I mean, when we look at that, and talk to me about what you think around the amnesties that are given to the perpetrators of this violence versus the drive for historical prosecutions. Are we much more eager to grant these amnesties more than showing a commitment to want to prosecute these historical political violent crimes?
We have a strange type of leaders. There were a type of leaders even when other people step on our corns. We are the ones who are forced to apologize to the ones who are stepping on our corns. For instance, to date, the killers of Steve Biko are known, but justice was never done. And if you look at Tiro, Onkoputse Tiro, his killers are known. In fact, they were even employed in NIA, in this dispensation of democracy. They were known. They're there. There are reports. Everything is there. But nothing happened in their direction. So all that you see, it's us, black people, being forced that we should accept all that we deserve is to stay in shacks, mikuku. All that we deserve is to stay in townships. All that we deserve is to have a bucket toilets, pit toilets. All that we deserve is in fact, even when there's load shedding, there has been a report last year by experts which revealed that even load shedding itself has its own racism, because it is black people in the townships and the rural areas that are hard hit by that load shedding.
Yeah. Now, you're part of the campaigning, at least the commemorations earlier today, alongside other political parties. Does it concern you? I mean, for example, political parties like Action SA, who use the platform to call for the removal of the ANC. Does it concern you at all, the use of the Sharpeville massacre as a platform for political campaigning?
Oh, well, the Sharpeville commemoration is a struggle against forgetting. And then that struggle against forgetting, it's also reminding us that we are still in the struggle. And Sharpeville was nothing else about the repossession of the land. And then it was an anti-colonial struggle. So for me, it is okay that the leaders of this country are being called upon to account. In this country, you're having the presidents of this country sleeping on mattresses stuffed with billions of rands, when ordinary people are sleeping on cement. And for us in Azapo, we had other organization calling for President Ramaphosa to resign. And as Azapo, we are saying, that is lukewarm, because once you make such a call, you are finding yourself entangled in the factional battles of the ANC, because you are only helping Mashadile to be the president, to rise to be the president. For us in Azapo, the entire government must step down, not only one person or the other, but all of them must step down. And then you need to move to a new situation where the people need to put in a government that will serve their own interests, reclaim their power.
Nelvis Qekema, we appreciate your time, sir. Thank you very much for coming on tonight. Nelvis Qekema, President of the Azanian People's Organization.